Suzuka is back in Daily Race C, and this time it's all about strategy. We are running both racing soft and racing hard tires in a single 10-lap race, and tire wear is a big factor. Even though it's such a short race, managing tire degradation is key. You have to think carefully about how many laps you'll push on the softer compound. The tire wear can be pretty severe, so finding the right balance is crucial. Despite the challenge, the racing this week is actually a lot of fun, and it opens up, I'm going to say, a place for a couple of different strategies. Let's go with another one here. I guess he won't do the strategy like he did the last time. Oh yeah, hards again. The worst tires for this car. Like, the worst. I guess I'll live without those tires and then try to push it on the softs. In this race, the strategy is simple but crucial. You have to run both racing soft and racing hard tires, so the pit stop is mandatory. The best approach, in my opinion, is to start on the racing hard tire for the first 5 laps, then switch to racing softs for the remaining 5. Running the hards early can help you minimize overall time loss, and once the car is lighter, you can benefit from a lighter car on those racing soft tires. But as you can see, racing hard tires are incredibly difficult to manage in a BMW M6. So I just had to be extremely careful in those first couple of laps not to lose control, and eventually when I get onto the softs, push as much as possible and eventually try to get a podium or even win this race. Hards. Too many mistakes. And despite the custom slipstream, I started losing ground to the guys ahead because I made too many mistakes. As you probably can tell, racing here isn't easy. Even the front runners make mistakes, and it's a very tough car to keep on the track for all of those 10 laps. The tire degradation is brutal on the racing softs, and the racing hard tires definitely don't make it any easier. Okay, let's stay in the toe. Try to do something, I guess. Oh, Nicholas is off the track. And we got ourselves a race here. And with that car, it's going to be difficult to overtake, even though he can probably do it. But it's a very difficult car here to overtake with, and on top of that, to defend your place if you're not extremely quick and leading for the whole race. But in general, it's all about surviving on the hards and then changing to the softs. Yeah, well, you see this? Whoa. Which way to go? This way to go. And up to P3. Looking back at the replay, I think it was just unfortunate. A little tap, but I think also P2 started accelerating slightly too soon and with a little tap, lost that back end. Which, of course, helped me because now I am in 3rd place. That was a solid overtake, wasn't it? Let's try to work with him. Okay, on the limit there. Yeah, you know what? I know. I bumped into him. I got too close. And if you're wondering why I decided to bump draft him, it's actually pretty simple. I wanted to catch the leader up ahead. If we started battling too early, then we would just let the leader pull away, and we'd probably never get that place later in the race because the gaps are marginal, even in the time trial. So I figured I would give him a couple of pushes and see if he could potentially start catching P1. And at the same time, I was keeping an eye on the tire. It's not a huge issue if you're on the racing hards at this point, but with the tire degradation, it's pretty severe on the racing soft tires. And I was also having a look at the tire temps. Of course, it's probably going to be a little bit of an issue later on. So the goal was just to close the gap and be ready for that second stint on the softs, where I could push and hopefully make up some places. It was too late. I think I'll just have to wait for a little bit longer now. Let's do it. Let's do it, and now our leader went a little bit too wide. That's okay. That's actually perfect for me. Just trying not to lose it. Oh, that's a bit of a ascent. It's a bit of a scent, but I still have P2. And the race was actually shaping up really well for me. It was almost perfect. I started in P6, and by this point, I was in second place. I mean, it doesn't really get much better than that. I started catching the leader, and also I gave him a little bump draft because the guys behind us started to battle, which of course is great for me, and so it's actually great for us. But I gave him a little bit of a bump draft because I didn't really know what was going on at the back. I knew there was some kind of battling, but I really wanted to pull away from all of that trouble, I guess. But then he decided to do something which I think he is going to regret later on. He decided to pit, and it was a very early stop that I didn't expect. He is going in. And he was on the hard tire. Now he'll be really struggling on the softs. I mean, really struggling. I barely made it in my previous race, and I pitted in lap 5, and now he's pitting in lap 4. So I don't know how that's going to go for him. And then I found myself in the lead, and honestly, it doesn't really get much better than that, does it? Now it's time to pit. So all I wanted to do was keep it clean, no mistakes, and the guys at the back started fighting a little bit, but nothing too serious. I held on, and eventually it was time to pit. My goal was just to see if I could manage my tires a little bit better than in my previous race, and I guess just see how it all goes, and if I can actually win this race now. Trying not to cut the pit entry, and there we go. So softs do not refuel. Okay, I got a little bit less fuel than them, but that's pretty much nothing. Okay. He took the lead once again. But let's go, +5. I need +5, I'm going to use it. But now very gentle now in these S's. And even in the faster turns later. Just to save the tires a bit more. And just a little clarification on the strategy. The main goal was to preserve the front tires. Since this is an FR car, most of the weight is at the front, which means that the front tires tend to wear out faster than the rears. To help with that, I kept my brake and bias set towards the rear. So this way, I could use the rear tires more under braking to actually rotate the car more and save the fronts. It also gives you, I'm gonna call it, a better car rotation, which is helpful, but it's a bit of a risky setup. Too much rear brake and bias can make the car very unstable, especially when you're going downhill. Think about turn 1 and 2. Still, in this situation, I wanted to see if I could keep my front tires in a better shape for the second half of this race, especially for that final lap where I'm really going to need them. Okay, still it's 1.7. It's because he's got the toe. Oh, what's going to happen in front? A little lift. He's spinning. Yep. And that's my outlap done. And I also wanted to show you what kind of difference does one lap of difference makes. On the left, this is me, and I pitted one lap later than the driver in front, which pitted in lap 4. And you can clearly start to see the difference. And he needs to, well, finish the race on these tires, which is definitely not going to be easy. Yeah, I'm really trying to be smooth, like really smooth. Also, don't push it on the outside. Okay. That's a nice push there. I mean, we're going to catch him either way, so... The question is when. I mean, we are already there. I think he said I'm not going for it. And we are already there. Okay, now I'm gonna be much faster than him. Yeah, look at this. He can't turn. Then I saw a chance and I thought maybe going on the outside, but no. That's really not the smartest move. Instead, I focused on putting as much pressure as I possibly could on him, without, of course, risking an incident. And on this track, something like that is never easy. Which way to go now? This is not smart, but I'm going to do it either way. Outside, outside. That went well. I mean, it's not over yet. It's really not over. The race definitely wasn't over, but I was pretty relieved when the driver behind me decided to bump draft instead of going for the overtake. That really helped improve my chances of actually holding the lead and maybe even winning this race. But then a few strange things started to happen. There is a big battle behind me, and that's good for me. That's really, really good for me. Whoa, 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 whoa. What happened there? That was a big slide and a big crash. Looking back at the replay, I think it was a fair battle, at least in my opinion. But then, just as the move was already done, he suddenly clipped the fence and lost the car. So I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but it definitely worked out in my favor. So in the end, I was able to keep it clean and take the win. So it's a nice way to wrap up a really tough race. And it's going to be another win of the day. He won again. Not bad. Not bad. And finally, we need to check the tire wear if, for example, you put it in lap 4 instead of lap 5. So don't do it. It doesn't go well. It really doesn't.